My name is Dan Green. I'm a director of sales and operations for Twitter, and one of the verticals that I cover is the travel industry. Impressions from today. I enjoyed the audience. It was a very engaged audience. A lot of good questions. Wish I had more time to talk about things and answer questions because Twitter's new still in a way, especially for businesses. It's really built up over the last few years, and I think that folks have a lot of questions about how to approach it and how to use it.
What are some of the pitfalls you're seeing in the tourism industry where people just could get a little bit of coaching from you, a few tips?
I would say one pitfall is that sometimes people think about Twitter as social media, and then they think, well, we're doing Facebook, why do we need to do Twitter? Twitter is an information network more than it is a social network. It's an information network with a social overlay, and the consumer intent is very different on Twitter versus Facebook. Facebook's a great site for sharing your life with your friends and family and things that you're doing. Twitter is about getting closer to the information, the people, the events that you find interesting and compelling. So it's very different consumer intent, and so there's a very different use for both. And so I'd encourage travel companies, any company, to think about them as unique properties and try to leverage them for their strengths.
So sometimes Twitter talks about a different voice than the voice of Facebook. What sort of voice would you describe Twitter typically utilizes most effectively? Obviously, it's short.
It is short. Yeah, it's definitely short. It's quirky. I think that we encourage brands to develop a personality. What doesn't work on Twitter is constantly sending out promotions, right? Constantly sending out anything doesn't work because eventually people might unfollow you because they're tired of seeing your tweets in their stream. They want to see a spectrum of everything that's going on. So typically what people follow brands for is to find out what's happening with that brand, new products, specials and promotions, but they don't want to see it constantly. So you want to develop a really unique voice. You want to think very carefully about what you tweet and make it impactful, make it interesting and compelling, and then leverage, whenever you can, leverage media, leverage rich media. Travel companies typically have tons of pictures, tons of video. Leverage that. They have tons of user-generated content. Leverage that. Or use some of the other creative tools that are out there like Vine.
So what's a campaign that you found just to be amazingly successful, that surprised you, or you found very compelling for yourself personally?
That's a good question. What is a campaign? Well, this is just off the top of my head. American Airlines does a really good job with Twitter from a customer service perspective. They do some interesting things from just a general like conversation and engagement perspective as well. They've done some good stuff. Virgin Atlantic has done some really interesting things. They've done some, not only do they do some interesting engagement and interesting promotion, but they've focused in on some of their social causes. Air New Zealand's done this as well. Who else? NBC Suites has leveraged Vine in some really interesting ways and done some great stuff with Vine as well.
So there are about to be a few changes at Twitter, potentially. How's the anxiety level over there? Everybody calm and ready for some shifts?
Yeah, people are really excited. It's really an exciting time for Twitter from just a general growth perspective. Our users are growing rapidly. Our advertising business is growing rapidly, and so it's an exciting time to be there.